welcome to you. My name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. This is part 2 of my Q&A of recent fabulous things that have happened in my life. Part 1 was your questions about my trip to Paris, and this is part 2 and it's all about the new house. If you're interested in participating in these Q&As, it's simple. Just follow me over on Instagram. I post on my stories and you can put a response there. It's at Dales_addiction. Or you can subscribe to me here on YouTube simply by clicking the red subscribe button and the bell notification, and then you'll be notified of when I make community posts, which you can only see if you're subscribed, and you can ask questions there as well. So thanks to everybody who has asked questions. I will do my best to answer them and give you some insights into what's happened and how we ended up in my Barbie dream house. The first question comes from Christian at he.dreams.of_bags. What part of the house are you most excited about to create? You versus Mr. Addiction. Well, the thing is, we don't have to create anything really, which is like one of the reasons we just call this, I call it the Barbie dream house, because it kind of ticks every single box. Even the boxes we didn't have on our list. There are obviously some adjustments that we need to make. So in terms of the priorities for those, for me, obviously the closet, the place where, you know, I love to spend time and where all of my treasures are kept. And for Mr. Addiction, the garage, for exactly the same reasons. For us both though, I think creating our a really homely, inspiring, just happy living area is probably our joint priority. And so all of those things will continuously be competing with each other, and that'll be part of the fun of prioritizing what we do and when. Christian also asks, did you browse any luxury furniture lines, for example Fendi Casa, for fun or to get inspired? Well, if you have seen my luxury unboxings, you'll see that I did one for homewares. Look, I won't lie, obviously I was influenced to look more at homewares whilst in Paris. Sadly, the area that I was in, you know, were way beyond my price range. You'd need a palace to put some of those things in. But I did pick up a couple of little bits, the Louis Vuitton trunk mirror and the Dior vase. And my little snails, of course, but go and watch that video if you want to have a look at those. In terms of furniture, it's not really my vibe. I want furniture that's more so functional. It's Mr. Addiction, myself, and 2 dogs most of the time, but when we have visitors, we don't want them worried about where they can sit, where they can put a drink. Especially we have grandchildren now. We want a nice home. We want people to respect it, yes, but we also don't want people to feel like they can't live here without worrying about it. So I don't think that the luxury home lines offer you that, in my opinion. Form over function events. Hi Alicia, was the new home a plan or a joyous surprise decision? A little bit of both. About, I'm going to say when we got back from Europe last year, we engaged a buyer's agent to help us find properties that were unlisted, pre-list or off market. So basically properties that weren't advertised to a broad range of people, where buyers could engage an agent who had a network of people that didn't want to go to public market, and could simply introduce interested buyers to vendors, and hopefully make a match, and then, you know, everything's kind of done outside of the advertising and all of the craziness of, you know, playing bidders off against each other and what have you. We didn't find our experience with the buyer's agent particularly helpful. Their read on what we wanted was, you know, it felt like they had too many fingers in too many pies. And we knew we were looking for a unicorn. We made that pretty clear at the beginning, and they showed us a property that was perfect. Well, that vendor decided not to sell at that point in time. And there was nothing further forthcoming. And so, yeah, we made arrangements to cease that partnership. And so things just kind of went quiet for a long time. Kept an eye on the market, but didn't see anything really that we were keen on until just before I went to look after my dad after his knee operation. That week, we'd been to 3 open homes, all high spec, all kind of, we thought, going to fit the bill for what we wanted, and scary in terms of the investment that was required. And this was the last one. We actually rode past it on Mr. Addiction's new Harley, and it had a coming soon sign. And I said, we need that would be a great house for us. And he's like, no way, Jose, that's not happening. We went to the open. The first open was a Saturday. I had a hair appointment straight after, and then I was going to a show with some friends. And then the next day I was flying out to be with my dad for 2 weeks. And we came to this open. This was the second open for the day. And normally we play that game of House Hunters International where we say things that are, I think, absurd. Like, I'm not sure I like the countertops, and I wish it was electric instead of gas, and because all those things are cosmetic, and in the scheme of purchasing a house, they are nothing. You can change them really easily. It always makes me laugh that people on those shows think that that's a deal breaker, or the producers do. We didn't say a thing to each other. And we walked out, and I stood in the front door and I said, does it look like I live here? And Mr. Addiction said, yes, honey, it does. And so I went on my hair appointment, I went to my show, I got up early, I caught a plane, and we got to talk, properly again a couple of nights later. He said, what are we going to do? And I said, well, I'll talk to the bank. You should go to the open home again on Wednesday and really go and see if you think it's the one. He did. And we were like, oh God, what are we going to do? We put in an offer in writing on the Friday. We had been pre-approved, but not for this much. And we didn't get any feedback until later on the Saturday after the third open, which was, we're still considering our offers. I was still away with my dad for the next week, and we were thinking, what are we going to do? How do we kind of secure this? Because we didn't want to go to auction. And a plan came together. I flew back to Brisbane on Friday. We went to the open home on the Saturday, which was 1 week before the auction. And there was only a couple of parties at the home, so it'd be a small market for this kind of place. And we had a chat with the agents, and they asked if we were serious, and we're like, yeah, we are. We've been here a few times now. And a half an hour later, they called us back with a price, and we came back to the house, signed a contract on the kitchen table, and that was that. So it's a long answer to say it was kind of planned, but it was also very surprising. And I mentioned in my first part of the Q&A that the house settled the day I flew to Paris. So it was just crazy. We still have our other home, and our other home, we are going to do some work to that, and then we'll eventually pop it on the market. But we didn't want one to depend on the other, so at the moment we're trying to maintain both of them and do some small improvements so that we can maximise our return when we sell that one eventually. So yeah, pretty insane few months it's been. Styled by _Rudy. Is there something you would change about the house? Look, just some closet storage situations. I mean, for your average Joe, it's fine. For me, I've got a severe shoe storage situation that I need to deal with. I just got to find a cabinet maker who can make some adjustments. But overall, I love all of the finishes. I think it's probably a little greyish for me, like the paintwork. But we are going to engage an interior designer to help us make it ours, and so we'll probably find a lot of that falls into the background. It's a great neutral palette to start with lots of beautiful details and things. So anything we would change, look, I'm going to change the gardens. That's what I'm going to change. There's lots of natives and things that aren't not my cup of tea. There's more questions on the garden, so I'll expand on that in those questions. Neenka1, tell us everything about the new house, please. Okay, I'll tell you what I can. The new house is not far from the old house. I can walk there in about 5 minutes. It's 5 bedrooms. It has this big walk-in closet. It has an office. It has a pool, and it has a lovely big yard for the puppies. It's in the style of the Queenslander that has been renovated. Queenslanders are like a colonial style of building in Australia that are set up off of the ground to catch prevailing breezes, stay away from damp when it rains, and they've usually got some ornate kind of craft-like details. This one has been renovated to the extent that it's probably, I'd say, a little bit more leaning toward Hamptons meets Queenslander, but in a really lovely way. Styled by _Rudy. Are you happy with your closet? I certainly love it. I'm very happy with my closet. Originally Mr. Addiction and I were sharing, and well, his stuff didn't fit. So he's been relegated to the room adjacent, which was going to be my kind of bag storage room, but as you can see, there's a heap of storage here behind me, and if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll give you a little bit of an interim tour. I say interim because it's not finished yet. As I said, that shoe storage issue is a problem, which I'll expand on. But yeah, so instead of doing a whole room of cabinetry, it made sense to amend a cabinet that was in here, and then that would solve that problem. And he's quite condensed in an actual normal wardrobe in another room. So yeah, we both got what we wanted. But yeah, as soon as that's done, I think I'll be happy. Obviously, there's a couple of things I want to do in here, like potentially add an ottoman or even some built-in storage in the center, but I want to be able to move it, so it would need to be on casters, and then that would alleviate some other, challenges in the storage department, because my old house was way smaller, but it was a TARDIS. It fits so much in it, and when you're moving, you certainly understand how much stuff you have. And don't worry, I had a great time putting lots of boxes and packaging and things into a big skip bin in the driveway. That was fun. Styled by Rudy _ also asks, how long did it take to set the new house up? XOXO Queen. I'd say we're still in the process. We're still moving things over. I've still got that big bookshelf that you used to see in my outfit of the days. All of the contents of that have got to be moved yet, and that's going to be hard work because that's got to go in boxes, go downstairs, get in the car, come across, go up a couple of stairs, and then be all set up, and they will need to be dusted and cleaned. Even though they get dusted, you still go through things and clean them up before you pop them in. So that's a big job that will probably be happening this Christmas, New Year holidays, when it's nice and hot and toasty, because that's what you do. ANNG Onzales. Favourite part of the new home? How is it different to your last home? It's about 2.5 times bigger than our last home. Favourite part? Oh, it's hard to say. The bathrooms are beautiful. The closet's beautiful. The outdoor areas, the living area, the kitchen is gorgeous. The wine cellar? Hinson87 says, will you show us your backyard? Sure. I'll show you snippets of it for sure. Yes, but that's another area in terms of the garden that I want to do some work to. The previous owners had a big trampoline, and so we're waiting for the grass to grow over that spot. as well, because obviously if there's no sun, no grass grows, so we're waiting for that to cover over. She also asks, your closet is a dream. Does Mr. A have a closet just as big, and how many bedrooms? No, he has a regular sized closet in the adjacent room. And that's all he needs. His equivalent is the garage. Yeah, it's 5 bedrooms. It's a lot for 2 people. Unfortunately, you can't find a house with a big closet and a big garage and only a couple of bedrooms. So, you know, it was a sacrifice we had to make. _CH4CH_. How much was the new house? Several $1 million. It was a lot. It was a lot, Chris. But you get what you pay for, I suppose. So when I say several, I don't mean 7. Okay. Kristen Clarkin. Are you in the same area of Brisbane? Is it an older historic home like your last one? I am in a similar area, yes. It was. It probably didn't have the same level of lovely little touches that our last home had. Our last home was very small and quirky, had lots of interesting paneling and ceiling roses and things. This home doesn't have any of that. It's quite modern. And that makes me a little bit sad, but also for maintenance purposes, it makes a lot of sense. Those homes, they require a lot of upkeep, and we loved it while we had it. It was charming. But also looking forward to a little less maintenance here, even though it's way bigger. Laura Morales, did you have to do any work to the new house, or was it ready to move in? It was ready to move in. We didn't have to do a thing. It is odd how great and ready it is. It's that's why it was such an easy decision for us to make. So easy. _Mrs_Muller_. What's your decorating style going to be? Well, I'm working with an interior designer, so my kind of brief was that I love the British colonial style of mixing texture and timber and print, greenery, whites, pinks, whimsy, and travel finds into my home. And yeah, I remember telling Meredith about it, and she said, oh, I bet there was just silence on the other end of the phone. And I said, no, I think a lot of interior designers get told to do, very blank kind of display home looks. And for someone who's keen on colour and pattern and texture and whimsy, I think that's pretty exciting for an interior designer. So I have someone, we are working together, and yeah, I am so excited to go on this journey. So can't wait to see what comes out of it. Liv_4. How does having a new wardrobe and space to yourself help with your styling choices? It'll be great once my shoes are in here, Liv, because then I'll be able to see everything. Seeing everything is also confronting, because that's when you realise how much you have. Can I tell you, we moved this whole wardrobe in carloads because I had this great idea. I would just grab coat hangers of stuff, I'd carry it downstairs, put it in the car, drive it across the road, grab it, bring it upstairs and hang it. So much. There was so much. So many trips. Me and my stair count, I should have worn my Apple Watch just to track how much effort went into it. Insane amount of stuff. Insane. There's still one closet at the other house that I haven't unpacked yet. So seeing it all is great. It's also overwhelming. But yeah, it does help me. I have played around with some new looks you probably would have seen on my Instagram since I've been here. So yeah, seeing things really helps you. And seeing things and having space also to see things is good, instead of it all being shoved in really tight as well. Debbie says, love a tour of the new garden. Look, the garden needs work, Debbie. I have not got any roses here, so I need to fix that. I also want to add some olive trees. I want to kind of get rid of a lot of the natives. There's some stinky garlic kind of shrubby flower in here that stinks when it rains. That's got to go. So yeah, there's a few things. I will wait till the winter time and spring to do all of that when it's cooler. And I need to do a bit of soil work as well, because we have clay soils here. So that means they retain a lot of moisture, which is great for plants that like wet feet, but a lot of plants don't like wet feet and they will die. So I need to add some sand and some other organic material and kind of, you know, churn up the garden beds so that they're ready for some new plants next spring, which will be a fun project and keep me out of trouble. Debbie also asks how the doggies settling in. They're still settling in, Debbie. They follow us everywhere. At the old house, like, we could be wandering around and they would be asleep on a lounge somewhere and not really care what we were doing. But here, they follow us everywhere still. They still haven't found their kind of peace, their place where they sit and chill. So I think that'll be a big indicator of when it feels like home, when they show us that they are comfortable and it feels like home to them. Jade Lotus Bell, how did you decide what clothes to declutter when moving to your new home? I declutter on a regular basis, so I didn't have to do it for this move. And there was something that I knew, whereby I think I knew I was going to be moving because I had been decluttering in the months leading up to it. So crazy, I know, but yeah, I had been. Please tell us more about your new house. This is by T42 and your reason for deciding to move. We just wanted a home, if I can add to the other questions, that meant that we weren't compromising as we head into this kind of next stage of our life. We just wanted things to be easier. And in our other home, as much as we loved it, we were making do with a lot of the time with the space that we had, and we didn't want to make do anymore. And we wanted to, I guess, also move into this part of our lives with the courage to really grab hold of and own what we've achieved together. And it was a funny question to ask ourselves around, do we want a humble home and a big life? Do we want the home that do we have the courage to have the home that we've dreamed of and have the life that goes with it? Because neither of us come from that. And how do we maintain our humility and who we are as just regular people, even though when you look from the outside, this would be, you know, to be honest, maybe a bit intimidating to some of our family and friends. It doesn't change who we are. It just makes us more grateful and appreciative for the things that we have done in our lives to get us to this point. So yeah, it's pretty special. Okay, the last few questions. Amanda Atwood, what non-negotiable for you when you are looking at houses? How's your husband's style different from yours? What's your favourite room in your new home? Excited for the new content. I love home design and I'm excited to see your journey unfold. I'll just answer the parts I haven't already addressed. Non-negotiable for us was 3 to 4 car garage, a big walk-in robe. It had to be finished. We didn't want to be doing any renovating. It needed to be a turnkey. And it had to be in the area that we were looking in. There were plenty of homes outside of this area, but as tempting as they were, it's not where we want to live. So they were our non-negotiables. How's our style different? I think in terms of home, we have built a style together. I used to be very clean and precise and everything in its place and everything perfect and clean and beautiful. And Mr. Addiction kind of gave me some feedback when we started living together that felt unwelcoming to people. And I didn't want that, and unhomey. And so he's kind of more the fan of the knickknacks and things like that, and I kind of figured out how to integrate like family photos but also artworks and things together so that it was our home and things that we love, but it didn't feel like someone else's, like your mum's house or your grandmother's house, you know. So I think we've built our style together, and that's pretty special. At our old house, it was his idea to paint the door magenta pink. So there you go. Ingrid Hyde, do you have a specific approach to the decorating, creating a mood board, or just finding pieces you love and going with it? As I said, I've engaged an interior designer and we'll be going on that journey together. So I'm very, very excited, and we'll have a mix of new pieces. So they'll be commissioned and made for us. So rugs, window treatments, chairs, all upholstered kind of items. And then we're also going to be looking at some vintage and antique pieces as well. We'll look at things like artworks and lampshades. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to go on this journey together. Jan Morrow, hi Dale, I'm so excited for you. Does the new home have gardens for you to potter around in, or do you have to start over? I know how much you love your gardens. Also, how the pup's adjusting. Probably the garden is the biggest rebuild, Jan. The garden is not, at least in some areas, is not what I want. And so I am very excited to, you know, map out what the new garden is going to look like. And I won't be asking for help with that one. That'll be a journey of love. Mr. Addiction doesn't care so much about the garden, so whatever I put in, I'm going to have to maintain as well. It's only war paint. You asked a few questions, but the one I haven't answered is, did you buy a house with a swimming pool? Yes, I did, and it is so good. It is so good to move in summer and have a pool. I mean, we've had a lot of rain, which has been horrible. But now the rain has gone, the sun is shining, and we are going to have Christmas in the pool. Prawns and champagne in the pool for Christmas. How good. I can't wait. I don't even have to go on holidays anymore. Jana asked, does your new house fit your personal style? It will. It's a blank canvas. I love that it has lots of beautiful finishes and details. Absolutely. There's some very similar vibes to our old home in terms of finishes, floor tiles and things like that. But it will. It will, and yeah, I can see the potential all over it. And Fuchsia Floyd asks, besides your beautiful closet, what is the favourite feature of the new house? I love driving up to it at night when all the lights are on. It's magical. And it's not even finished, but yeah, to me, driving home with all the welcome lights on outside, I just never thought that it would happen. And so I'm very, very happy. If you can't tell, I'm very, very happy. So thank you for joining me in this Q&A. I hope this has answered all of your questions. I'm going to take you for a quick whiz around the wardrobe and show you kind of how it's set up now and what some of the thinking is for the future. And I hope you'll stick with me. Consider subscribing as we go on this journey of making it a home for me and Mr. Addiction. So let's do the tour. Right, as I said, it's a work in progress, but it's fabulous. All right, I can't, for some reason, the camera's not going to get everything in. But let's start with stuff. So originally Mr. Addiction's things were here and over this side, but we quickly figured out that it wasn't going to fit. So I've got long hanging space and I've got bags, and this is the mirror where I take my selfies. This is the vanity section. I feel like there's an opportunity for another shelf at the top of that because there's a lot of empty space there. It has a Bluetooth speaker, and it has different light settings, and I haven't done my makeup there yet because I'm not a vanity girl, and in the case that storage becomes an issue, well, I might just ditch this and add more shelving. This section over here, which is empty, this is what is going to become the shoe storage situation, because I'm going to put an overlay in here right now of where all the shoes are and why they don't fit. And interestingly, in our old home, it was so small, the shoe storage section, but it fit so much. So yeah, I had no idea how well designed that storage was until we come into a space that's massive and it doesn't fit. And then they have this massive situation here, and you think, what else would you put in there beside bags? I mean, I wouldn't be folding sweaters and shirts and things, and so yeah, it was like it was made for the bag situation. And I've got all my like tops and bottoms over here, so shorts and skirts, bags obviously, and then all these drawers are all mine too, so Mr. Addiction is totally out. And then we've got more bags. We've got sweaters and bits over there, my Longchamp bag, and then I've got blazers and jeans and kind of business pants over there. And this ottoman, this is not new. I had this built for the original wardrobe and had to boot it out because it just got in the way. And so a lot of people saying that I love the new ottoman. Well, yeah, it's too small for this room as well. So, interesting situation. So this is effectively what they had for shoes before, and that's just not enough. So one for like each side. So I'm kind of using it for bag storage at the moment. But yeah, you know, first world problems. And this is the ensuite situation through here. And Mr. Addiction's wardrobe is in another room. And then that's out to the bedroom out there. So yeah, should we have a little look in the cupboards? A preview of the handbag collection video that is to come. I haven't done any real kind of organising or curating, but you know, it's nice to see all the babies in one place, protected by glass. And oh, the other thing I need to show you as well about this fabulous space is that I have a skylight up here. So I have it closed because I don't want all that light getting on my bags and fading them. But yeah, I can also open the skylight and hello, and I can change the lighting in this space, which is fabulous. So yeah, here we are. Here's the Louis mirror. Here's my tray of all my bits and bobs and goodies. But keeping it real, this is going to be the shoe storage section. I just need to get a carpenter to come and figure out how to make it work for me. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, and there will be more to come.